fight was getting mentioned and talked about and, signed, I just felt like he just did a lot of fake stuff and said a lot of stuff that, a person that you claim that you cool with, you would never say. So that was my big issue with him. I just know, character take you along.
With Floyd Mayweather's recent misbehaviors, Terence Crawford has finally opened up about what really went wrong between him and Floyd Mayweather, the tension that has driven the boxing legend to repeatedly confront him. Crawford, in a revealing new interview, shared that Floyd's strange, unpredictable actions toward him started just before his big win against Canelo.
Using what he got to shield him. He got a lot of security guards around him, and he's in the limelight and stuff like that. But in certain situations, he wouldn't be acting like that.
Do you like him as a fighter, though?
Yeah, he's a damn good fighter.
Yeah.
But like his core personality.
He usually would reach out before my fights and try to encourage me and stuff. But this time I didn't hear from him. But people who knew him were telling me that he wasn't a fan of the fight, and he didn't want me to come out on top. But I didn't pay it much mind. Then I noticed how he reacted when asked about the fight, and I knew something was off.
Hey Floyd, what do you think about the fight? Crawford Mayweather says it's gonna be a good fight. You think the winner should get Canelo?
Sir. We're saying about them right now.
And also, Crawford revealed that it was Floyd who had leaked the news that he was dealing with injuries during camp.
So you didn't go into that fight 100%, you think? I asked for no details.
No, not at all. No, I don't know when did I ever win in a fight. You know what I mean?
And yeah, he also told the world about my injuries. I found out he was the one who let that slip. Of course, I wouldn't admit it before the fight. Then I stepped into the ring, did my thing, and became champion. You all saw his bet. I wondered why he'd bet on me, but not reach out or anything. But I'm not the kind of person to speak on what isn't out yet. According to Crawford, he ignored Floyd until Floyd started calling him out for a fight to prove who the real GOAT is. I don't understand where the jealousy comes from, because all I've ever been is a loyal friend and fan to him.
I had disliked a lot of things that he was saying, and how he was acting, being that, me, I'm a real individual. I just felt like, we was all cool at one point in time. And,
Why call me out then? Crawford revealed he wasn't at 100% heading into the Canelo Alvarez fight, which makes Crawford's win seem even more impressive. Crawford defeated Canelo via unanimous decision to become undisputed at 168. He also became the first male to be undisputed in 3 weight divisions, 140, 147, and 154. Before the fight happened, rumors surfaced, coming from Floyd Mayweather, claiming Crawford was dealing with a shoulder injury, suggesting it was acting up during his training camp. Crawford addressed the chatter, denying that he was struggling.
My elbows is hurting, my hands, my wrists, my neck, things like that. You gotta listen to your body and just say, all right, decompress. I'ma just chill out and let my body just do what it do.
I know you had a great camp, but brother, you finna be 38 soon.
Damn, I'm hearing from a close source that Terence Crawford's shoulder, which he had surgery on, has been acting up in camp. Apparently, it has been a persistent issue for the past 8 to 10 weeks and is being watched closely.
If I take Floyd Mayweather in his absolute prime, and I take Manny Pacquiao in his absolute prime,
Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd still beats him.
Floyd beat everybody.
You don't believe there's a guy at 140, 147 in the history of boxing that could have beat Floyd in his prime?
It'd be tough. Floyd, man, that boy, man, that's the GOAT, man. That boy bad.
What makes it, because, and I told people, I said, look at Floyd. I said, Floyd, it's not that he trains, it's his life. And from the very beginning, he's like, I want to be the best.
When I fought Canelo, I was 36 and Canelo was 23, around the same age. Some of these guys won world titles and was undisputed champion. I think, the Tank age, the young little champions. Mm-hmm. Canelo was 23 with 43 fights and 30 knockouts.
Where do I get a shoulder injury? I don't know. I think people make up their own stories. Terence Crawford got a shoulder injury. Terence Crawford out of shape. Terence Crawford slow. They're coming up with all sorts of stuff. Crawford said, looking back, Crawford was unlikely to admit that he was dealing with something that would have helped Canelo's camp him.
There's rumours that you've got a shoulder injury. Do you have a shoulder injury or is that just rubbish?
Where I got a shoulder injury. I think people coming up with their own, antics. Terence Crawford got a shoulder injury. Terence Crawford out of shape. Terence Crawford slow. Terence Crawford. Yeah, they coming up with.
However, when he was asked about his condition heading into the fight, Bud told Andre Ward he wasn't at 100%. I had a lot happening in camp. I was dealing with injuries, too. I didn't go into the fight fully ready. Not at all. You're never going to go into camp and come out 100% healthy. And a lot of people are asking me, how did I feel? Man, I had a lot going on in camp. This fight, the last fight, the fight before. Like injuries, too. Injuries, too. Crawford stated.
Couple days, right? How was that last camp you just had?
It was great.
I know it was great. Well, did you feel different at 37?
A little bit, yeah.
You had no bumps and bruises?
Man, we always got bumps and bruises.
I'm saying bumps and bruises at 37.
Man, I had bumps and bruises at 27,
The news that Terence Crawford was not at 100% only magnifies the impressive nature of his victory. The first challenge was the monumental task of moving up 2 weight classes to face the undisputed king. On top of that, a shoulder injury directly affects the mechanics for generating power, the stamina needed to maintain a high punch rate, and the ability to keep a strong, solid defensive guard. For Crawford to perform a masterclass, neutralizing Canelo's body attack and outlanding him consistently while hiding the potential weakness of his shoulder highlights his mental fortitude.
Are you feeling the difference in power now you've moved up and you're at your natural weight?
Of course. The power is definitely going to come with it, so that's not any worries that I ever had to have.
Terence, what excites you the most about this challenge on Saturday night?
Shutting everybody up.
And what does this feel like to you, Terence? We normally don't come in an arena and see you booed the way that you were today. How excited are you to shut everybody up?
Hey, man,
It silences critics who might have downplayed the win by claiming Canelo was washed or just had a bad night after Canelo's own news that he would need shoulder surgery following the Crawford loss. Interestingly, it was also the same story for Canelo Alvarez, who has been said to have fought through an injury in the fight. The news that the Mexican will undergo elbow surgery has reignited the debate over whether the injury played a decisive role in the fight or if it's simply a way to find excuses in the face of a clear defeat. A defeat that, for many, is seen as the most painful for the Mexican boxer, both because of the current point of his career and because of what was on the line.
If you can, compare and contrast the fight between yourself and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and tonight's bout with Terence "Bud" Crawford, if you can.
No, I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather.
According to recent reports, Canelo Alvarez will undergo surgery to fix an elbow injury that will keep him out of the ring for 5 to 6 months. The recovery pauses his schedule as he still has obligations under the Riyadh season contract, which includes at least 2 more fights. The Mexican had already faced physical problems in the past. After the trilogy against Gennady Golovkin, he had wrist surgery, returning in 2023 to defend his status as one of boxing's great icons.
How did that feel to hear that from someone like him?
I just was like, well, it's his personal opinion. He was in the ring with both of us, so a lot of people, they can say what they want, but he's actually been in the ring with both of us. One where he felt like he was.
Terence Crawford's victory was overwhelming as he controlled much of the fight at Allegiant Stadium and cemented his status as one of the top pound-for-pound fighters today. However, the news of Canelo's surgery gave some fans reason to question the outcome. For some, the Mexican's low output could be blamed on elbow discomfort. Comments spread across social networks like, well, that explains why he wasn't throwing many punches. Others, however, emphasized that Crawford won decisively and that leaning on the injury as an excuse only diminishes Bud's strong performance.
When you look at these fights, especially coming up, you gotta be realistic. You gotta, say, all right, how big is this dude really is? Because David Benavidez, he could fight his ass off. You know, me personally, I believe that.
Crawford against Mayweather, right? How do you think a fight between both of them turn out?
If Mayweather gets hit with Crawford like I hit him and rocked, it might not end well for Mayweather. They might be over it. But Mayweather could outbox Crawford, I think, because Crawford has the mindset that I'm trying to knock you out, and Mayweather knows how to play to that I'm trying to knock you out type of thing, because he's used to people coming at him trying to hit him hard all the time.
The big question now is how Canelo will come back after the surgery. Some think he should take a tune-up fight before facing another elite opponent. Others feel that after so many years at the top, it might be time to consider retirement. Terence Crawford is savoring the peak of his career. His victory over Alvarez not only cemented him as a benchmark, but also sparked the conversation about how far his legacy can reach.
I am now.
How do you beat Floyd, though? Like, since nobody's been able to crack that code.
You think I would tell you?
He ain't fighting anymore, so that fight ain't gonna happen.
Crawford took a huge risk by moving up 2 weight classes to challenge Canelo for his undisputed super middleweight titles. And since this fight was streamed on Netflix for millions of viewers, there was a chance Crawford could have suffered a knockout loss, which would have been a major hit to his reputation and legacy. Instead, Crawford pulled off an upset and earned a unanimous decision victory. This made him the first male boxer to claim undisputed champion status in 3 different weight classes.
When I looked at it, he came out in the southpaw stance and he took Canelo's jab away from him. As you know, if you take a fighter's jab away from them, then it's hard for them to really land. You force them to use one shot, and he forced them to use his backhand, his rear hand. Crawford was ready for the loop in the right hands.
With this victory, Crawford has solidified himself as one of the greatest boxers of his generation and arguably among the top fighters of all time. And now that Crawford is at his peak and just turned 38, there's been plenty of speculation about whether he will fight again or if he's ready to sail off into the sunset and retire. There's a case for both choices. On one hand, Crawford has nothing left to prove or achieve in the sport, and he would be risking his now flawless legacy if he stepped back into the ring. On the other hand, Crawford would be leaving a fortune on the table if he hung up the gloves, especially with a potential rematch against Canelo.
His speed, his power, his punch placement, his IQ, the way that he went about boxing. He's a hooper. I like to play basketball. He fish. I like to fish.
Nobody knows which direction Crawford will take. In fact, Crawford doesn't even know, which he revealed while talking with the great Andre Ward during a September 30th episode of the All the Smoke Fight podcast. When Ward asked Crawford what was next, he said, "I'm chilling, man. Like, to be honest, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like I said, everything is up in the air right now. I'm just enjoying my family, enjoying being able to say, look what I accomplished."
A little bit of online beef. We saw Roy Jones here, you know, him and Floyd Mayweather getting after it. Just what are your thoughts? I know you watch it because I can see the smile on your face.
That's 2 uncles, man, going at it, man. I don't know what to say. I'm, you know, I don't even know how to feel about it. I mean, I do know this. They're fighters, and you know, entertainers and fighters. They're sensitive about their work.
I'm just chilling right now. I haven't even had the time to sit down with my team and talk with them and things like that. He continued, I talk with my family and I know what my family wants, but it's a team effort. He later added, you've got to have a strong will because a lot of things are going to be thrown at you, but it's up to you to know what's right and what's wrong. Mayweather has long set the standard in the sport, a benchmark that few have reached. Yet, in recent years, Bud Crawford has been slowly carving his way into the spotlight. In August 2024, Crawford captured a world title in the 4th weight division, outpointing Israel Matamorph over 12 rounds at _ Stadium in Los Angeles to claim the WBA junior middleweight crown. The victory extended Crawford's remarkable pattern of winning world titles immediately upon moving up to new weight classes.
A lot of the stuff that Canelo was doing, and you know, that I would say this, that work from Boots helped in that aspect because Canelo was reacting to a lot of the counters that Crawford was throwing. Usually in the past, you know, Canelo would stand right there. He would lunge and he would stay in place, keep his feet in place. However,
at 140 pounds, he dispatched Thomas Dahm by knockout in his first outing for the WBO belt, a prelude to his eventual reign as undisputed champion. His move into the welterweight ranks followed the same pattern, a decisive victory over then WBO champion Jeff Horn that ended in Horn's surrender. And in July 2023, Crawford achieved the crowning moment of his career to that point, dismantling Errol Spence Jr. to become the undisputed welterweight champion of the world. After his triumph over Madrimov, Crawford signaled clearly that his pursuit of history was far from finished. His next goal was daring, a leap of 2 weight classes to challenge the undisputed super middleweight champion.
Wild, because if you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. And Floyd was faster and he had a better defense and all that stuff. But Floyd picked and chose when he fought guys, especially once he left lightweight. He wiped out the junior lights, bring him. Lightweight, he jumps up to Jose Luis Castillo first thing. A lot of people think he lost the first fight.
Not for a fragment of supremacy, not for a belt, no even for 2, but for the entire crown. Saul Canelo Alvarez, the sport's undisputed face and the sole holder of all 4 major titles, stood in his way. Alvarez, with characteristic dismissiveness, downplayed Crawford's claim, suggesting that his resume paled in comparison. Yet Crawford remained unshaken. For him, greatness was never measured in trophies. It was and always would be a matter of skill.
We've had a lot of comparisons between Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather. We've even had the conversation to go as far as who would win in a fight between Terence and Floyd. And I truly don't know the answer to that question.
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who will win that fight?
Floyd.
Floyd will win that fight.
Yes, sir. I
Floyd
love you, Terrence.
Always figures it out.
Yeah, he's a chess man.
And Alvarez, like the 41 men who had come before him, proved no exception to Crawford's dominance. Though the fight did not end in a knockout, its story was clear, a one-sided contest in which Crawford controlled nearly every moment. And unlike Mayweather, he has never stopped chasing the toughest challenges. No one questions Mayweather's greatness. He won world titles across 5 weight divisions. And as he has reminded fans in countless ways, sometimes even while running his own fighters' press conferences, he accumulated extraordinary wealth along the way. In his early career, Mayweather fought from 126 to 140 pounds, defeating most opponents by knockout.
I didn't, but then he won the rematch. But once he left lightweight, he was careful about when he fought guys. So even though his resume is deeper with names, people remember, but he didn't want it with certain dudes at certain times. Crawford, we all witnessed, even though the resume is thin in certain ways, he wanted it with every...
And the world said he was inexperienced. I was 36 with 40-something fights. And to tell you the truth, I was over the hill. And so when I fight guys, when I'm in my 30s and they're in their 30s, you know what they say?
What's that?
Oh, this guy all washed up.
Yet, after his split decision win over Oscar de la Hoya in May 2007 for the WBC junior middleweight crown, a fight that shifted boxing's financial center of gravity, Mayweather's persona transformed from pretty boy to money. The skills remained undeniable, but his approach became more calculated, more risk-averse. He increasingly took the path of least resistance, often frustrating fans who wanted him to face tougher opposition. While Crawford stands alone as the only male fighter to reach undisputed status in 3 separate weight divisions in the 4-belt era, Mayweather never claimed undisputed distinction in his career. Yet, this was hardly an oversight. It reflected his priorities.
How did that feel to hear that from someone like him?
I just was like, well, it's his personal opinion. He was in the ring with both of us, so a lot of people, they can say what they want, but he's actually been in the ring with both of us. One where he felt like he was
ready for the body shots. Occasionally the straight right hand to the body would land for Canelo. But, sooner or later, Crawford started getting out of the way of that as well by just pivoting, on the angle and, making Canelo reach. There were spots inside the ring that I saw Crawford, try to...
Crawford left Top Rank in 2021 to take control of his career, but his motivations differed sharply from Mayweather's. Where Mayweather's discontent came from financial matters, Crawford's frustration was rooted in the quality of opponents offered to him. It was a matter of legacy. 2 fighters, Two completely different priorities. Naturally, money remained a factor, but it was never the main driver. At 33, Mayweather had largely completed his transformation into a businessman first and a fighter second. Crawford, by contrast, at 37, was still chasing dangerous, legacy-defining fights, matches that Mayweather at that age would never have considered. His caution was understandable. Few people seek injury willingly.
You know, and another where he felt like he was at a disadvantage when he had a rehydration clause and he was younger. So, you know, I don't know. You know, I don't go off of that. You know, Floyd is the best fighter, you know, in his era, and I feel like I'm the best fighter in my era.
Yet, Crawford welcomed the risk and not only came out victorious, but did so without the fine print that so often follows marquee fights. There were no weight stipulations and no rehydration clauses involved. Canelo Crawford was fought at the full super middleweight limit. "I'ma beat him," Crawford remembered telling Bernard Hopkins during a conversation on Andre Ward's The Art of Ward podcast. "We're going to fight and I'm going to beat him. Watch."
You think wins in a fight, you or Prime Floyd?
Me?
No questions?
Why would you think that I would say Floyd?
I don't know. I thought you'd hesitate maybe even a bit, but no.
Nah, not at all. You know, that's one of my favorite fighters.
I saw you before the fight, the Crawford-Canelo fight, and you had a Cavs hat on. This time you've got a GOAT hat on. Is that how you're feeling? I know it says Muhammad Ali, but is that how you're feeling about Bud's performance, about his whole career?
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that way, man. GOAT. Greatest of all time, man. You gotta give it to him. You gotta give it to him. You gotta give it to his coaches. Not just me, Saul Red, Bernie, Chet, nutritionists, you know, everybody played a part.
Canelo said he's way better than Mayweather. What do you think to that?
Who, Terence?
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Of course he is.
It was never a matter of money. The true measure lay in proving inside the ring who the superior man really was. From the very start of his career, this has been Bud Crawford's guiding principle: to establish clearly and consistently who the better fighter is. Few imagined Mayweather's throne could be challenged, but here we are. Crawford has claimed it. What's perhaps even more striking is that his journey might not be finished. Bud could very well move down to 160 pounds and etch his name as a 6th Division world champion. And that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, moments, events, and action in the boxing world, stay connected with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel. And don't forget to turn on notifications to be alerted when we drop quality content like this. Until next time, peace out.